do we have an obligation as attorneys to reach out to a young black attorney, or should we wait for them to come to us? Because I know I hear all the time people say, well, this young attorney is working for the firm and they've never come to my office. Do you think we have an obligation to go to their office and be their mentor?
As young people, I know, like you said, I certainly didn't have the opportunity to have this program and to learn. But there's so much that you just don't know. And if there's something to be said for learning by doing, because there are some things that you cannot learn until you do that. But I think we have the obligation to, assist and be mentors to young attorneys.
Like if you need to take a proactive stance about your career. I mean, I think the horrible thing about all lawyers is that we're terribly busy. And so lots of times, especially in the summer, your black attorney could be in the middle of trial, they could forget that the summer associate started, and you could have been at that firm for 2 weeks and nobody remembered that you started. So you need to take a proactive, stance with your career. This is your career and you have already started it. Like Makia said, the people that you are sitting next to now could end up being colleagues, they could end up being in-house counsel, passing out work. So you just always need to be thinking about my career and what am I trying to do to advance my career.
And I'm gonna just flip that question just really quick. It's not just, I think as a corporate counsel, we have an obligation. Everybody that walks through those doors, if they're a person of color, you gotta reach out to them, tell them the things they don't know, because a lot of times they don't know what they don't know. And I think that's a given. But it's not just us, it's y'all guys. When y'all leave here, y'all have gotten this experience. Y'all have gotten a lot of information that other people don't have the benefit of coming here to get. Y'all gotta tell them what y'all learned.
It's just a matter of making your work speak for yourself. Just carry yourself the same way as everyone else. And when I clerked, I'm going to tell you what I did. I was older, okay? I went to law school at a much older age. Won't say how much it was, but when I got in the firm, I scoped up all the female partners. I mean, there were no black female partners. We still don't have one. And I looked at the way they dressed. And I didn't exactly become them, but I did certain things where they could relate. Okay, and I loved fashion, so it was just a matter of going, okay, all right, I see what the trend is here. Okay, let me make sure that I'm not like them, but they can see that I fit in. Those are things you have to do. And I wasn't the only one doing it, trust me, okay? We were all going shopping to try to figure out
the next question, but this is very important. And
so
I didn't know this until my second semester in law school, but I don't want to get to the law firm part until we get you to graduate from law school. So let me tell you some important things in this dealing with the respect issue. A couple of panelists talked about this. But when you look around this room, these are going to be people that's going to send you business one day. And one of the things I tell people about law school all the time, it's not a game. When you go to law school, you want your your fellow colleagues to respect you. We had some guys that were in fraternities. I'm in the fraternity. But when they got there, they were still stepping like they were in undergrad. And I'll be very honest, that's my perception of them. If I had to send them business today, that's all I know of them. I mean, taking their shirts off in law school. I mean, so it's important. I mean, right now, if I could tell you things, make sure when you go on campus, somebody say, is it better to be respected or liked? My motto is, you might not like me, but if you had to have an attorney to represent you, you're going to call me. I mean, and that was always my motto. So you want to do that. Very, very important early on. And number two, learn how to help. And that's the one thing that I would say as African American, because we 3% at a low, 7% on high. That's the total number of African American attorneys. It's enough out there for all of us. We just have to learn how to support each other.
Two concepts. One, each one bring one. Other panelists have essentially said the same thing, but each of us in this room can, or in my opinion, should be able to reach out to someone else. And that would already double the number of people in the room. If you can do more, even better. But already, each one here, all of you, most of you, I guess, are in undergraduate school, there's someone, it's particularly a black male, but also more black females that you can reach. You have them in your phone book right now, that you can reach, and they should be here next year, or you should pass on the information. So that's on a personal level. That's somewhat on a micro level. But on a macro level, the challenge to all of us is to also try to be social engineers, and so far as put together, I don't know if she's in the room, but I think we all need to give Miss Evangeline
She
Mitchell.
just left.
Kids, I think it starts very, very young. I think that it's not a coincidence that there is a lack of African-American men in law school. There's a lack of African-American men in college. There's a lack of African-American men graduating from high school. You can't be a lawyer if you don't have a high school diploma. Do you know what I mean? So I think that it does start very young, and that we have to be committed to paying it forward, to figuring the problem out, because it is something that starts very, very young, and it is something that is prevalent in the community of men, and I think this room is just demonstrative of that.
And just to wrap it up really quickly, I think that we gotta start having programs like this in the junior high school level. Because after you get too much past that, your grades make all the difference. Then you can't get into the law schools that you wanna get into. And at the end of the game, most of our guys, why they're not here, they're sitting up in jail. And not some of them in jail because they shouldn't even be in jail, because we got a system that's kind of orchestrated against them and they don't understand that. But we gotta bring that message at the junior high school level, that bottom line, there is racial profiling, it's all of those things, but until we, each of us, start saying, we got to reach out to junior high school.